Alright guys, welcome back to Fire Emblem Warriors. Last time we met in Fire Emblem Warriors, we began the game, met Rowan and Lianna and Darius. The castle got raided by a bunch of monsters. Rowan and Lianna escaped, and now we're just walking in the forest because of reasons. Oh, and Yelena gave us a weird shield thing. I don't know what it's for. Something about a shield of flames. I don't know.
I'm just not sure if we can do it.
I'll be at your side. Try not to worry.
So this is kind of the point in the game where we're going to be having abridged retellings of the modern Fire Emblem games. They're not really, like, it's not the exact same, and there's a lot of details left out, but, like, it's basically fan service for Fire Emblem fans. Like, this right here is a clear example. This is the intro cutscene of Fire Emblem Awakening, where Robin wakes up, you know. Chrom even says the exact same lines at points.
The Shepherds, a militia from the Halidom of Elise.
The Halidom of what? Never heard of it.
Huh? But how is that even possible?
My lord, my lady, please be on your guard. He was not alone.
Whoa! Too fast, too fast! You! Don't just run off like that. Do you have any idea... Rowan, do you know these people or something?
Just met him now.
I don't recognize your clothes.
But it's nice to see Roy's Echo Fighter, I mean Chrom.
He doesn't know us then.
I mean, actually, no, both statements were right. So, this is actually a bit of a gripe I have with this game, and it's really the representation of the games within this game. You know, back in Hyrule Warriors, I'm gonna praise Hyrule Warriors here because I actually love that game. And I'm not talking about Age of Calamity. No, I'm talking about the original definitive edition.
You're right.
Well, that doesn't make sense, but you get what I mean. There's representation from almost every corner of Zelda. You know, the only thing I can think of that didn't get any rep was the CDI games, but nobody wants to talk about those.
You mean
Like, hell, I think Link's crossbow training got representation. Here, the representation for this game is very whack. I mean, it's mostly Awakening and Fate's characters. Mainly Fates. Like, Fates has all of the Norians and Hoshidans, and Corrin. And I know that once you bring one Hoshidan in, you gotta bring the rest of the Hoshidan family in. And I'm talking, it's mainly just the Hoshidan family. It's not like all of the retainers and stuff like that. It's just the family. So it's just Ryoma, Takumi, Sakura, and Hinoka. And same for Nor, you know, like, as you just saw. And Chrom, in the Fates rep, is kind of makes sense a little bit. You know, you got all the iconic characters from Awakening. You got Lissa, Chrom, Frederick, Lucina, I forgot her name for a second, Robin, you know, and Cordelia. Cordelia is the one that kind of I question a little bit, but not too much. You know, it's not like it's the end-all be-all. Oh, and you know, the DLC rep too, which is Owain. I'll get, again, that's another gripe I have with this game. I'll get into it in a minute, actually. Olivia and Tharja. Those three are DLC reps. And then Fates' DLC is Oboro, Niles, and what's his name? Did I say Azura? I said Azura, Oboro, and Niles. Okay, so I was right. I had them all. I thought I forgot somebody. Those three are fine reps. Oboro and Niles I'll get into later, but Azura, kind of questioned why she wasn't in the game in the first place, but it is kind of understandable when you look at the plot. She doesn't really have a place to kind of fit without causing more problems. But like, the Shadow Dragon rep is really just Navarre, Marth, Sita, and Tiki. I think Minerva counts, yeah. And Lind. But, again, Minerva and Lind are DLC, and Navarre is, too! I just remembered that. And then, there's, like, Lynn is in this game, and she's the only Blazing Blade rep. No Roy in this game. No Ike. Yeah, there's no Radiant Dawn representation. In fact, all the references we get to Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance, they're all from Owain because of his stupid names. Like, there's none of that. Three Houses is kind of understandable. Three Houses didn't even come out yet at this time, and they aren't I don't think they're planning on doing a re-release of this game. with 3 House of characters. I would actually kind of like that, you know, have add Byleth and I guess maybe Rhea, Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude. I want to say Claudius for some reason. But I'm not in a rush for that, to be honest with you. I am not going to demand that. Alright, so I guess I should get into the actual mechanics of the game for a second. So, Fire Emblem Warriors does a pretty decent job in bringing in the weapon triangle system. This is for people who've never played a Fire Emblem game. If you don't know what the weapon triangle system is, basically, oh god, I love this dude. Oh, yeah, Owain. I love him, but I hate the fact that he's DLC. Yes, Owain is DLC. He is paid DLC, despite the fact that he's in the fucking main story. Why? I just have to ask. Who thought that was a good idea at Intelligent Systems? Or Koei Tecmo, whoever was in charge of the DLC decisions. I'm assuming Nintendo was a major decision maker in that. But this is the dumbest decision I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, there's your Radiant Dawn rep. That's all we get. See you guys later. Anyway, back to what I was saying about the weapon triangle. So basically, Fire Emblem has a system where, depending on what weapon you use, you have an advantage against other weapons. So Axe users would have an advantage over Lance users, but they would have a disadvantage against Sword users. Sword users would have a good advantage against Axe users, as I just said, but they would have a disadvantage against Lance users. And Lance users, I believe, would have a disadvantage towards Axes, but an advantage towards Swords. Yeah. It's like rock, paper, scissors, essentially. There's also other, like, disadvantages and advantages to have, like, archers have a clear advantage against flying units, and stuff like that. It is all based on what weapons you use and which but the thing is unlike in other Fire Emblem games where you could have your characters use different weapons, specifically your protagonists, unfortunately, you are stuck with the weapon that character uses the whole time. You can't change it. You can change the weapon in terms of like being a better grade weapon. Like you're not stuck with Chrom's falchion the whole game. Though in all honesty, you don't really need to switch weapons, especially when you start getting the scrolls and opuses and making the weapons even more powerful. You don't have to use any of the other weapons. I sell most of my weapons half the time now. But, you can't have, Rowan and Lianna use bows temporarily and stuff like that. They're stuck with the way they are. And nothing against that. I guess that is a good way to make sure the game doesn't get too complicated, because, in all honesty, it is just better to have, the characters use what they're known for. But it is a little challenging to get used to be honest with you. Because I'm so used to being able to switch on the fly, back in, like, Fire Emblem Fates, where if I wanted to use Sakura to use a sword for a second, because, there was just no reason to use a, bow, then I would have used it. But no, not here. In fact, the Master Seal system doesn't even really do anything different, in all out honesty, either. It just increases all of your stats, and you get a new costume. That I never wear, because I just like the default costumes more. Like, it just looks fine. And in fact, in some cases, the new Master Class costumes just make the character straight up look ridiculous. Specifically, if they have a lot of armor. I'm like, yeah, I get you want to protect yourself, but Jesus Christ, you need shoulder pads the size of a football field?
Begin the mission.
But yeah, but earlier, you noticed, this is the demonstration of Awakening mode, by the way. Earlier, I had Lissa pair up with Chrom for a second. That is, pair-up mode. Basically, you put one of your, 2 warriors will pair up together, and they can do a couple of things. For one, if they're another playable warrior, you can switch between the two instantly by pressing the left trigger, and pressing X. Or you could have the other character swoop in and do a quick attack by pressing the X button and holding the L trigger. Or you could do a dual special when both of their warrior gauges fill up and you press A, and it's basically a more powerful version of a warrior attack. Really great for clearing out forts and just instantly taking a fort. It's really great to do. Oh yeah, and every awakening sequence ends with a big attack of some sort. So in this case, Chrom does this. It's nice. But it's also using the pair up mechanic is a great way to raise your support levels, especially if you have bond charms equipped with it. So I highly recommend using them when you can. In fact, I just encourage it. It's just the best thing to do. And also I think it also helps with leveling up your the Vanguard character if they need it. Like, you know, just making sure that character stays safe. Like, say, for example, Chrom's, like, level 70, and you have Lianna, who's, like, level 60, and you want to get her leveled up, and you're in a map where she could really die easily, then you could just protect her by having her as, the Vanguard, which is really great. Alright, so yeah, that's the mission, by the way. This was just really a Frederick test. Frederick was just testing Rowan and Lianna to see if they were capable of fighting, you know, stuff like that.
A bit too much. Power is one thing, but strength of one's heart is another matter.
Yeah. But did you see how much I helped out?
Oh yeah, and this game also has like little victory animations for each character depending on who you end it with.
It was an honor to help.
Sometimes the context doesn't make sense, but yes.
At least for now.
Meaning...
We can work together. I still hold some doubts, but I'll put them aside.
So you don't trust us yet?
It is my
This
duty
is probably
to
gonna be the shortest
always
part,
be
isn't it? This is
vigilant.
only,
Please forgive
I'm
me.
assuming this is, yeah, 17 minutes? Yeah, holy shit.
Camp for the night.
Well, I'm trying to keep it one chapter at a time because some chapters get these chapters get long. And that's actually the other reason I decided to,
Bear?
do New Game Plus / Hard Mode, just to speed things up a little bit. If I did a whole new profile, it probably would have taken double the time.
What good fortune! A chance to absorb that proud, ferocious spirit once more!
Owain, does that mean... Have you also eaten it before?
More than
Oh my
once!
Alright, I'm in. If this
I actually do like some of the interactions though between the characters. I will praise the game for that. They have some pretty funny interactions with each other, especially if you do the support ranks.
Can't avoid bears that easily.
Like I think my favorite support conversation in this game so far is the Chrom and Owain one. No, yeah, Chrom and Owain, because they basically Owain is just saying things and Chrom has no idea how to answer to any of it. I also like the one where Corrin and Robin have like an existential talk, but it's basically just a giant fourth wall break. Like I find them funny. Anyway, I think that's the end of this part. Well, yeah, it is. So the next time we meet in Fire Emblem Warriors, we're going to be going on to the next chapter, which is just going to be another Awakening. Yeah, so we're in the Awakening arc for this whole session, and then we're going to be doing the Fates arc, and then we're going to be doing like the pseudo Shadow Dragon. Actually, no, Shadow Dragon doesn't really get a retelling. It just sort of Marth and the Shadow Dragon crew just kind of show up. So yeah, so we'll see you guys then, and take care.